there, stampers and crafters, and welcome to our online class where today we're going to be making these beautiful snow front cards. These are holiday cards, super easy to make. These were designed by Julie DeGoya, and I am super excited to see that she's actually on this live. Hi, Julie, while we're actually filming this class today. So this is going to be a fairly quick class because these are really easy cards to make, and they're a great choice when you're looking for fun and really cool holiday cards. Julie designed these for my blog before the holiday catalog went live, and they went viral. When I posted them, they went viral. I mean, they are just, I've got so many inquiries and comments and compliments on them that I thought we have to do a class with these because everybody is just loving them and so fun. So I'm also giving 2 of these snow front stamp sets away. One live and one on October 4th, and all you need to do is leave a comment here on the original video on my channel, either on Facebook live or the replay, or on my YouTube channel. And if you share the video onto a social media platform, I will enter you a second time into the replay drawing. All right, so that's exciting. And one more exciting thing that I have to offer, and that is Holiday Helper is here. It's early this year. I actually have 2 parts. Normally I launch this in November. It's kind of my gift to you, a little thank you around the holiday time. And it's usually 12 days of Christmas projects that I'll send a special mailing out of tutorials, one each day for 12 days. And I will be doing that in November, but that's part 2. So part 1 launched this week, and you can still join in the fun, and that is 10 weeks of projects from the new Stampin' Up! Holiday Catalog Suites. There's going to be, it kind of rounds all the holidays, Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas, and that will run for 10 weeks. You can sign up by clicking on the link in this video's description or go to stampwithtami.com. That is absolutely free. Okay, yeah, this is a great way to spend a Saturday morning. I totally agree. So let's get started with the fun. These are the 2 stamp sets that were used to create this card. They are both in the holiday catalog. We have Itty Bitty Christmas, which is filled with super fun Christmas and holiday sayings, and the Snow Front stamp set, which is just gorgeous. I feel like this builds on the waterfront stamp set that's in the annual catalog, and you'll find this in the holiday catalog that came out September 4th, and it's on page 45. And there's some other great samples here, and I have some samples on the stampwithtami.com blog. If you just type in snowfront, those will come up. So in addition to these 2 stamp sets, this also uses the Twal Tidings Designer Series paper, which is also new. Let me just back up a little bit so you can get a really good view of these papers. So I just there's 2 of each of these sheets, and they're double-sided in the pack. And this is the beautiful thing about this. You see the red and the green card, and I want to know which color you like best, red or green. I want you to comment and tell me which one you think is best, because that's the one we're going to make. And I'm going to tell you the cool thing about this. We're looking at garden green. These are double-sided. When you flip them over, same exact design on the back side, but they're the real red version. So you don't even have to choose, right? You can do either or, whichever you prefer. That's the side you can use. So we're going to start today. Actually, the very first thing I'm going to do with this card is the cutting of the main panel, which is cut with the stitched rectangle dies. And I have a free PDF, as always, with all of my video online classes. There's an accompanying PDF that has all the measurements on it. It has a link back to this resource page that has the video that we're creating right now. Wow, this is kind of a tie right now between the red and the green cards. And the PDF also has a full list of supplies. And you can see when people start stamping or crafting, they ask, what do I need to start with? And the basics are stamps, ink, and paper. And that is what these cards use. Stamps, ink, and paper. Now, I stepped it up a little with the rectangle die here, but I also have a measurement here for you if you don't have that die, so you can just cut it instead of using the die. And also we'll be using a folder on the background, which I'll show you in a minute, but that's optional too. You could do this without either of those things and still have a beautiful, beautiful project. So I use the 3rd largest rectangle die in the stitched rectangle dies set. And I also have the measurement there in case you don't have that. And I pre-cut this. We just run it through a die cut machine and pre-cut it for us. So we have our center panel. And then we're going to build. This is kind of cool, right? We're going to build our design here. I'll leave this off to the side so you can kind of see what we're building as we build it. So the colors here, I'm going to move my color palette in just for a second, and then I'm going to move it back out of the screen so you can see what we're stamping. There's 6 colors that we're using here. I do have them all listed on the free PDF. We have our neutrals, which are soft, early espresso, Sahara sand, and gray granite, and then we have real red, pretty peacock, and garden green. Okay. Wow, there's still a tie between the red and the green card. We can go either way with this. You guys are going to make the decision as to which card we're gonna make. All right, so I'm gonna start stamping this from the top down. Now the words came from that Itty Bitty Christmas. Everything else is in the Waterfront stamp set. And the very first thing I stamped in order to get everything to fit in just right was the tree, because I felt like most of the other images kind of revolved around where the tree was stamped. So that's going to go in the upper right-hand corner in early espresso ink. And then we're going to take the words and stamp those also in the same early espresso ink. And they're just going to go to the left, upper left of the tree. And that didn't come out awesome. So you know what I'm just going to do right now? Boom. It's important that you have this piece cut first too, so that you know how to line these up. Because if you didn't cut it, if you cut it after, your images might actually go off the side. Let's try this again. I'm actually going to stamp that on. Had a little bit of goo on it. Let me get that off. Okay, so we're going to stamp that in the upper left-hand corner. Much better. Ta-da! See, paper has 2 sides. Another reason why you want to stamp before you attach, in case you don't like what you did, and then you can flip it over. All right, so next we're going to stamp the house, or the shack, the log cabin, whatever you want to call it. That is going in Sahara sand. That's also going to go a little bit in the center of the tree and the left-hand side, as kind of as high up as you can get it without touching the tree. Then we're going to do a little magic here. Oops, I didn't mean to get rid of that because we're going to want that. We're going to stamp it on a little piece. I'm going to do a little bit of masking here. I'm going to stamp this on a little piece of Post-it, and I'm making sure that the shed goes over the sticky part of the Post-it. I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to trim this out to make the mask, and I'm going to trim it close to the, even a little inside the edge, so that we don't have any gaps when we stamp. You don't need to actually cut the whole thing. You only really need to cut the sides, because they're the only things that are going to be affected by the trees when we stamp them. We want the trees to look like they're going behind the shed and not on top of it. So this is a very simple masking technique. One of our basics. The shack. Yes, the shack. That's what I was calling it originally, but I guess it could be, it's probably more of a log cabin. And again, this mask doesn't have to be perfect because we really only need it for these edges. I just want to make sure it's lined up on that bottom part right there. There we go. And grab that piece of scrap paper that I was just using and throw it in there, because we are going to go off the edge a little bit here. I like going off the edge. And we're going to use the tree image in garden green. Now this image, in fact, I was going to keep this stamp set handy so I could show you. Some of the images kind of look the same on the block, so I just wanted to show you which tree image, because there's a couple of them here. Right now I'm using this tree image. That's the one that's mounted, and we're going to go in garden green. I know I love that movie, The Shack. That is one of my favorite books and movies. So yeah, this does kind of remind me of that a little bit. So we're just going to stamp the trees. I did put them at a little bit of an angle. You could go straight across if you wanted to. And then I'm going to stamp them again on the left-hand side, right over that mask. And I'm not taking the mask off just yet. I've got one more tree, and it's this one right here. That's the image. It's there's a bunch of tree images, but this is the one that I'm using. Garden green again. Gonna stamp off. Gonna stamp it a couple of times in the background to give it a little bit of dimension, make it look like there's a forest there. Gonna do the same thing over here. And then we're gonna take that mask off and then we've got our thing. I didn't line that up awesomely, did I? But that's okay. It is totally okay. All right, so next, actually, you know what? We're not going to get rid of that because I am going to stamp off the edge a few more times here. Next up, I'm going to do this little, it's almost like a piece of a hill here. It could be the bottom of this mountain if you wanted it to be. Right now it's going to be, the shack is going to be on a little bit of a hill, and we're going to stamp that in the crumb cake. Man, I'm shedding like mad today. My hair is all over this. Sorry about that. Okay, so that I'm going to line up underneath our tree and shack. And then we're going to, for our pond right here, we're going to use this image. And that's going in the Pretty Peacock ink. You got to have the set. Mackenzie says, you're making me want this set even more, but you got to have it. It's such a cool set. So many cool things. It's a builder set. You just build onto it. And so I stamped off once on the scrap paper with that Pretty Peacock. And then I'm going to stamp our little pond. It could be frozen. It could be, maybe it's about to freeze. And then we're going to stamp our deer. Oh dear. Two little deer. I love these little guys. And they are going to go kind of a little bit above that. And they will overlap our little mountain image there. And that's totally meant to be. And for the very last piece of stamping on this card, we've got our cardinals. So there's two cardinals right here and right here. So I've got a long thing here because I ran out of little blocks. So what I did was I just took a long block and I put one cardinal on the back, one cardinal on the front. They are going to be in real red. So let's do this guy first. We're going to stamp one up here in the top of one of these branches. And we're going to stamp the other one off on the scrap paper once. So he's a little bit lighter. He's going to be back a little bit, maybe in the tree. And we're going to stamp him right there. So you see the two birds face each other. So they're, one faces left, one faces right. All right. So now that we've got that all stamped, you could just use it as is. If you didn't have this folder, you could go ahead and put this on your card and it would be absolutely beautiful. But we're going to do a little bit of texture on the background here using the subtle folder. So this is a 3D folder. This is great because it just adds texture to your projects without really, having without making it too busy. And you can do it over an image like this just to add a little oomph to it. So I'm going to put this right into the folder. We're going to close that. It doesn't matter which side it goes on because they're kind of both the same. And then I'm going to take the die cut machine. Now, because this is a 3D folder, it's thicker than the classic folders, and it only requires one cutting pad. So I've got a platform, one cutting pad, and we're going to roll that right through. Aw, thanks for all the love. I hope Julie's still on here. Julie's the one that designed this card for me, and oh my God, it was just amazing. She's done some amazing work. You can check out stampwithtami.com to see some of her work and some of what she's designed for me. Her and Veronica have been designing like mad, so we have all kinds of cool projects to share on there. So I want to hold this. Actually, you know what? Let's zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see that texture. Oops, going the wrong way. Getting used to new equipment. Okay, so I don't know if you can you see that? See how the texture on there it really adds to this project. So cool. All right, so I was trying to keep track of whether you like the red or whether you like the green best. I had a really hard time because it seemed like it was a tie there between the red and the green cards. The beautiful thing, in case you're popping on late about this 12 tidings, is you don't have to choose because, well, you have to choose which side you're going to use, but the paper's green on one side and red on the other, so it's just a matter of your preference which side you're going to use here. I'll just go ahead with the green, and I'm using snail adhesive to attach this card together, and through the magic, my little boo-boo on the back, nobody even knew it was there. Through the magic of video, voila, it's already attached. Everything was attached with snail adhesive. The measurements are all on that free PDF on all the measurements I used here, and I put a little bit of Very Vanilla on the inside, and you could even stamp another one of these greetings from the Itty Bitty Christmas or from another set on the inside and have your greeting on there as well. Or you could put a picture in here for a photo card if you like to do photo cards for your holiday cards. But again, this is just such a great, great card. It's quick, it's easy. And if you were doing these in bulk, I would use the Stamparatus so you can do them quick and easy and boom, 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 bang them all out. So that is our class today. I told you it was going to be a quick one. These are, when it comes to holiday cards, right? You want something that's a wow, but you want something that's quick and easy to make. And this is definitely your design for, or a great design for that. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed this class, and I hope you guys all have a great weekend. We will see you back on Tuesday for the Stampin' Scoop Show. Thanks for joining me.